The Trump administration reportedly wants to replace American troops in Syria with Arab troops, and we also want our Arab allies to pay for it all, billions of dollars, and to rebuild Syria too. Joining us now is Richard Haas, President of the Council on Foreign Relations and author of the book A World in Disarray. Richard, welcome to the program. I have to ask you if this is a viable plan. Arab troops in, Arab money in, America out. Viable?
We used to teach that 90% of life is implementation. So this is a swell plan, but the odds that it's actually going to happen, I think, are modest. And the idea that we won't have to open our wallets or keep troops on the ground is highly unlikely.
I believe that when President Trump was speaking with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, he put it to him directly. We want $4 billion if you want us to stay in Syria. I think the Crown Prince kind of nodded his head and said, OK, we can work on this.
That's the way Crown Princes respond.
You're very dubious about everything, Richard.
Look, again, I think there's a chance of getting Arab participation in force, but Saudis and the UAE don't have much in the way of ground troops. Egypt could do something. Jordan could do something. But again, you're going to need U.S. forces there as the backbone of the force. And we can get the Saudis and the UAE to put in some money. The UAE, Jordan and Egypt don't have any money to put in, but they also need money for all sorts of other things. Saudi Arabia is spending billions of dollars every month on the misguided war in Yemen. They've got ambitious reform plans at home. They've all been pumping a lot of money into the Egyptian economy. So the idea that they've got this unlimited checkbook to also fund things in Syria is, I think, again, it's a bit suspect.
OK, so you don't think it's going to happen, bottom line, Richard?
Well, I think something could happen. I just don't think it's going to be the neat solution that the president wants, where we don't have to pay and we don't have to keep troops there. We will have to continue to pay. We will have to keep troops there. Maybe we can share this and have some partners. I think that's the optimistic scenario.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says President Trump could still, and he is still, willing to sit down with Vladimir Putin. Obvious question, Richard. Should he sit down with Vladimir Putin? What do you say?
I'm not against that per se. Right now, the U.S.-Russian relationship has less to it in terms of substance than the U.S.-Soviet relationship had at the worst moments of the Cold War. I don't think that's in our interest. We haven't had a congressional delegation in years, just to give you one example. We keep kicking out one another's diplomats. So I'm not against the meeting, but it's got to be a well-prepared meeting. I just don't want it to be a personal meeting without the kind of background work that diplomats do. You need a very specific agenda. The president's not equipped to negotiate arms control. He's not equipped to, and it's not a cheap shot at him. That's not what presidents do. So there's a lot of work that you could usefully do in detail on Syria, on Ukraine, on arms control. But that's not something where the two presidents should begin it. At most, they should end it.
If I look across the spectrum of President Trump's foreign policy thus far in his administration, I give him a B+, if not an A-. What would you give him? Go on. Go on.
I think you've got a future as a Harvard professor where nobody fails.
Oh, would you give him an F?
Not an F, but I'd be closer to the C or D range. I actually think this president, to use my favorite word, has abdicated many aspects of American world leadership. It's almost like his health care policy, a lot more repeal than replace. And I think we're setting in motion dynamics on the trade front, on the strategic front, that will bound badly for the United States. The fair grade, though, to be perfectly serious for a second, would be incomplete. You got a lot going on. We'll see what he does with Iran next month. We'll see what he does with North Korea over the next few months. We can then, get together probably in a couple of months and say, OK, we can give them a serious grade. It's probably too soon right now.
Oh, I'll come back in a couple of months and we'll see what kind of a grade you give. I'm going to give him an
Professor.
A+. No, I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't have you when I was a student.
Richard Haas, you're all right. Come back soon, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.